Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. So, you may be aware of how hedge funds operating in the world of crypto, typically the largest holdings for them would be Bitcoin, and then followed by Ethereum, and then there will be diversification amongst other cryptocurrencies. Many include XRP. But it's pretty much always the case. In fact, I can't think of a case in which it's not the case that Bitcoin would be the largest holding for pretty much any crypto hedge fund in question. And I'm not stating that definitively that is the case. I'm just saying I can't think of one where that isn't. So this headline caught my attention, and I wasn't really expecting this. But from Daily Hodl, financial giant SBI launching crypto asset fund featuring 50% XRP allocation. Yes, indeed, the scam coin XRP. 50% allocation for this particular asset fund. I'm kidding, of course. That's just how the Bitcoin maxi trolls like to frame it. But I'm going to run through this. This is fascinating. Now, before we go any further, though, if you would please delicately tap that like button. You know that Moon Lambo wants to appreciate that. It's good for the YouTube's algorithm. I don't know how the hell it works. It's sorcery as far as I'm concerned, but it will result in my videos getting seen by more people out there. So help, spread the good word of this echo chamber. And also go ahead and subscribe to the Moon Lambo channel if you have not yet done so, because if you do, we could be friends. Maybe even best friends. All right, let's just dive in now. Japanese financial giant SBI Holdings says it plans to create a new crypto asset fund that features a 50% allocation to Ripple's native token, XRP. So, obviously, SBI Holdings, rather forward-thinking, all on board with the crypto concept, wholly on board with XRP. There's no question there. It just ended to cross my mind that perhaps they'd start a fund for investment that would be along these lines. But, given that they have, and what we know about SBI Holdings and how pro Ripple and XRP they are, in that sense, it's not surprising. That part of it's not surprising that XRP would be allocated so heavily. But in a new briefing, the financial giant says the crypto asset fund is expected to launch in the coming months. According to SBI, the fund is designed to allow its clients to gain exposure to the unique and emerging asset class. Yep, emerging. It's been here for a full decade, but still in its nascency. Kind of crazy to think along those lines. But this type of thing is going to continue popping up for the rest of time, or at least as long as the internet exists, because as long as the internet exists, the cryptocurrency asset class is going to exist. And as more funds jump on in, and you'll see more and more from household names as well, XRP is going to be a part of them because it's got staying power and there's real utility to be had. This affects supply and demand, and ultimately, as adoption along these lines continues, it's certainly conceptually the way I think it's going is it's going to do well in terms of price action for XRP. I think, because consider this, and this is not financial advice, I want to be clear. I don't have a financial background. Don't buy or sell because of this. I'm just sharing an honest opinion with you here. But I always look at it just in terms of, think about how many trillions of dollars are held by hedge funds around the world, and let's just say institutional investors broadly, right? And if just a fraction of a percent of many of these institutional investors flows through to crypto and ultimately to XRP, and it is happening, but as it continues to happen, it happens in a more meaningful way as time passes, and a lot of the scariness goes away, and it becomes crystal clear the asset class isn't going away to these institutions. And it's just funny. I don't know if you recognize how early we are. You're talking about an asset class that's valued at what? I didn't check today. Was it probably a little over $200 billion, something like that? If I had to guess, it's probably somewhere around there. It's the tiniest asset class in existence, and it would be unfathomable to me if at some point this asset class were not in the trillions. It just wouldn't make any sense because there's real use, there's real utility to be had. It's not going away. Businesses today have business models that require the use of XRP. This is not going the way of the dodo. That is to say, it is not going extinct. So check out this quote. Providing individual investors with a crypto asset fund that embodies the resources of the SBI Group. Crypto assets, which have a low correlation to traditional assets such as stocks, bonds, etc., enhance the effectiveness of diversification. Absolutely. It's the opportunity for asymmetric returns. And it's pretty reasonable to take a measured approach. Maybe just keep it, if you're going to do this, is just my opinion, not financial advice. Again, if you're going to invest in crypto, just make it a rather small portion of your investment. And, in terms of percent. Some people aren't going to take that advice. Some people are, getting a second mortgage on their homes and things along these lines. That's kind of silly this year. But, like they said, again, traditional assets such as stocks, bonds, etc., it enhances the effectiveness of diversification. By the way, something that grinds my gears when people say etc., as if it's ECK. No, it's ET space CETERA. There you go. Etc. There's no K in there, damn it. Don't you be grinding my gears saying that wrong. Now, the other half of the fund will feature a 30% Bitcoin allocation and a 20% Ethereum allocation. SBI Alternative Investments will be in charge of creating and handling the fund in partnership with an anonymous entity. SBI Securities and SBI Money Plaza will be responsible for the sales of the fund shares to individual investors. And SBI's crypto trading platform, operation, SBI VC Trade, will be maintain custody, which is a broken sentence because this is crypto media, which is it just employs a bunch of C students that don't check their work. So will be maintain crypto custody of the crypto assets. Will be maintain custody. Stellar work. SBI is a longtime partner and invested in the San Francisco startup back in 2016. So anyway, I think it's cool stuff here. And next, let's take a look-see over here. This is also from the Daily Huddle. Mike McGlone calls major Bitcoin breakout, but crypto analysts warn Bitcoin, Ethereum, and XRP will likely tumble before bull run begins. Is that so? Well, I will say this before even covering any of this further. Even if so, there is every indication that altcoins will continue to follow Bitcoin in a general sense for the foreseeable future. So if you're a long-term guy like me, I suspect it's not so much gunsta matter. But Bloomberg Intelligence commodity strategist Mike McGlone says Bitcoin is set for a major breakout, with the leading cryptocurrency targeting $13,000 in the near term. McGlone says he expects weeks of consolidation to end as Bitcoin's volatility hovers at a level where big breakouts tend to erupt. And there's the tweet on your screen indicating as much. Now, but not all analysts see a big Bitcoin rally on the horizon. The popular crypto analyst Trader XO tells his 40,000 Twitter followers that Bitcoin's historic price action suggests the crypto king will drop to $5,000 before starting a new bull cycle. Well, if it does, that means that XRP, along with everything else, will drop substantially. And if we ever see that, elusive 10 to 11 cent XRP ever again, it's going to be one of those times where I break my buying cycle and just go all in and just buy a ton more. So I won't be crying if that happens. Not that I want it to happen. I'm just saying, just kind of roll with what happens in life. But here's a quote. Here's a scenario I believe has a good probability of playing out since the start of June, still very much on the cards. Now, meanwhile, Ethereum, and there's a chart on the screen if you want to take a look. Meanwhile, Ethereum is seeing a strong surge in both volume and daily active addresses. And that may have been the bulk of what I want to talk about. Let me jump down here a little bit. Here we go. Yeah, meanwhile, traders are concerned that Ethereum and XRP may have to overcome significant sell walls from the $2.9 billion plus token scam. Well, we'll see. I mean, there's indication that XRP had been moving around as a result of this scam, but I personally have not seen it actually begin to flood the markets. But I will say, even if it does, I don't know that it's all going to happen at once, and if it happens over a slow period of time, I don't know how much it's going to spook the market, frankly. I mean, because you can think about how much, XRP has been sold from, other big names, perhaps. You could even talk about, if you wanted to, Jed McHale. You could talk about Ripple's actual numbers. I mean, there have been notable numbers, relatively speaking, but in terms of volume, it's such a small percent that whether it's McHale or Ripple or even XRP from the Plus token scam, I'm not necessarily convinced that it's going to do anything in any sort of meaningful way here. But we shall see. But I don't know. For me, it's all about just being rather patient. And as I say it from time to time, I will outpatient anybody. I'm not going to emotionally buy and sell. And unless something functionally changes in terms of the actual real-world adoption of XRP, I'm just going to sit tight. And I don't care if it's another 5 or 10 years from now. And, and I've been in the world of crypto a good 2.5 years now, a little over that. And if it takes another 5 or 10, so what? I can't control that. I'm just a go-with-the-flow type of patient guy, and that's fine. But that is it for this video. I am not a financial advisor. Do not buy or sell anything, because if anything I say or write, that would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo!